Yeah, I was on my way over here when you said this. And I was like, first of all, every day is a funky day for me.
I know, right? I was gonna do like a little tie-in with the funky day and funk, yeah.
Probably what?
Forgot that has been in there.
Second of all, I'm on my way. Third, already taken.
Well,
Third.
yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and call the Board Works meeting for January 2nd, 2019 to order. First, we have the reading and approving the minutes. Do I have a motion to dismiss the reading and approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we have the payment of the claims. Total claims for this period were $233,319.96. So looked like the vast majority of that was health insurance.
Health insurance was over 100,000, then we've got a bond payment on there for 75. So most of that money is in two payments. The
Yeah.
rest of them are small.
Yep, I didn't see anything.
Not much there.
Yeah, it's a very small amount of payments this month. So, all right, any questions from the board? Any comment from the public? All right, do I have a motion to accept the payment of the claims?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We have no blight claims. City attorney report. Our city attorney is at the utilities meeting right now, finishing up, so he should be here as soon as they wrap up at the utilities. So if he has something to report, we'll give him some time when he arrives. Communications, we have none. Unfinished business. First point of unfinished business, we have Dolly Bowen, 235 Boulevard, with a request for the city to cut down a tree. I tried looking at the tree a couple times today. I think we were talking earlier about there was a police. Okay, I'm sorry. It was hard to get a good look at the tree earlier today because our police department was in front of it for a while.
Quite busy.
Yeah. I know, Dave, you said that you had a chance to take a closer look at it too. I did get a decent look at it, and it is splitting. It does look like it's something that needs resolved from some point of view. You also said that you believe that the street department can safely take down the tree?
Yeah, I think we can do it. We may have to pull into their drive with the bucket truck to get to the big limbs that go back over the house.
Yeah. I know for me, like Kristen was saying earlier, wanting to stay consistent and making sure that we have very clear reasons for why we do or don't do things for people to understand. And my thought process on this is it's on the tree lawn that is the city's right of way. It's city-owned property. The maintenance is the responsibility of the homeowners. And where I think it makes sense for us to go in as a city and take down a tree where we can is for public safety. And I would say, like, going into it before taking a real close look at a tree, as far as how big it is and how severe it is, if it's a tree that we just don't have the capability of taking down, which was my concern, whether or not we have the capability of taking down a tree. If we have the capability to do that, and it's not an undue burden on the city to do, then I feel okay with doing that. I don't know if the other board members, they want to have any other thoughts?
How would we deal with it if, okay, say for example, we have the ability to take this one down because it's a safety issue, and then we've got a bigger one that is a safety issue, but we don't have the ability to take it down. What do you do then?
That's a good question.
I mean, I agree that if we can do something to help, then we should, but I don't also want to get into the thing, it's like, well, if we did this one, now we've got to pay $1,500 for a professional to come in and take down a tree.
Right.
I mean, if it's still a public safety issue, how do we decipher which ones that we do based on the size of our bucket truck?
But also, what constitutes a public safety issue? Is the tree split? Is it dead? Is it dying? Or is it just grown, even though it's fully alive, it's just grown so tall that it's a threat if it would kill somebody if it's fallen. At that point, it's not a public safety issue itself because the tree's fine, and that comes on the homeowner.
Sure,
It would
that
have
makes
to.
sense.
Right, but I'm saying if it is a safety issue where the tree is splitting, and if it's too big that we can't handle it through the departments that we have, how do we go about doing that one?
Right.
I mean, this one we can obviously take care of in-house, but if it's a safety issue with a big tree that's splitting, it's
Right.
still a safety issue.
Right.
Do we tell them no because
Yeah.
we don't have a truck?
Yeah, do we say no to one person because it costs too much, and then okay to somebody else because it's not, which
So it comes.
I think and I don't know what we would do in that situation. Dave, do you know, is there, in your opinion, trees in the city that are on the city tree lawn that are so big that we wouldn't be able to take them down?
There's a possibility that there is. There's some pretty large trees in town.
Mm-hmm.
The only other alternative we would have in a situation like that, and the way we used to do it when I first hired in for the city, where we had a bucket truck, we moved all the cars off the street and just dropped the entire tree. You know, but that was a little bit on the hippie side. It worked.
No,
A little bit.
We're not in the forest.
yeah.
Dave, were you able to find a hold harmless?
Yeah,
Were you able to find a hold harmless?
the hold harmless, yeah. Dave brought it up to me before the meeting, so,
He had talked about it earlier. If
Yeah.
it was something you guys decided to do, if he could find one, I wasn't sure if he was able to find one.
yeah.
Is it one that the street department used to use, or is it just one off the
Pass
internet?
it over there.
Prepared by Bruce Embry. So
Okay.
I don't know, it would have been a while ago then.
2004, maybe?
So all the attorneys looking at that. Yeah, and I that's one of the things I feel like this board's been pretty good about doing, is trying to figure out protocol to make things fair. And I think you have a great point there, Steve, with, do you say no because it's too expensive then, when it's a public safety?
Well, like the first one that we've dealt with this board, we only took down the limb that was potentially dangerous. Because the tree down there would have been probably more than the city would have wanted to handle. I mean, it's a tree this big around. We just took one branch down, the one that was like leaning and splitting, just cut that branch off to keep it from falling on something or somebody.
Right.
And just left the rest of the tree to the homeowner to take the rest of it down. Basically eliminated the safety part of it. The tree still needs to come down, but it wasn't up to us to remove the tree, the stump, and all the rest.
Right.
So we went through and just de-limbed it enough to
Right.
where it was safe.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever go into the business of de-stump, like taking a stump out or grinding stumps. I don't think we don't have the equipment for that. That's just not anything we would ever do.
So our responsibility would be just to eliminate the public safety concern, whatever that looks like, in that case-by-case basis. Does that make
If the whole thing needs to come down, it needs to come down. If it's one branch that needs to come down that's splitting.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to take on the responsibility of everybody coming in town saying that tree's dying, it needs to come down, because if we
Exactly.
tell one person yes, then we take all of them down to ground level.
Right.
As opposed to just cutting one dead branch. And that was what we come up with on the first one. Bill come down, cut one branch, the tree's probably still needs to come down at some point, but it's not going to fall on anybody at this point.
Yeah. And with this tree, from looking at it, it looks like if you take the part that is splitting that looks like it could fall, if that were to be removed, it's such a large chunk of the tree that I don't know if it would. Do you think that the one part could be taken without taking the whole tree?
No,
Yeah.
no, because it split so close to the ground that
Right.
it used to support itself.
Right.
With both parts. And the way it's splitting, it's going to come down. Don't know which half's going to come first, but we would have to take the whole tree.
Yeah. And I think as long as it's actually on city right of way and reasonably poses some danger, I think I'm okay with that being my basically standard for saying, okay, we'll use the street department to take it down. but it is the board's decision too. So-
Well, no, I mean, and I'm completely in agreement as well. I just think that like having some sort of, to where we don't get into just removing complete trees. If you got one dead branch, we just take what the public safety, in this case, is both.
Okay.
But in other ones, like the one down by my house, that they just cut a branch off of, that tree is still fine. It's still living, doesn't need to come down, yes, but I don't feel that would be the city's responsibility at this point. They've eliminated the safety part of it, so. But at least having that in there to where people don't come in and expect us to take down every tree that's got a dead limb on it, all the way down, just cut the dead one and go on.
Yeah.
But this one, obviously, he's, under his recommendation, both of them need to come down for the safety.
Right.
Is it like a new ordinance or something?
It's not ordinance, it's how, how administration applies what's already in, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just.
It's application of ordinances that has discretion, so.
I think if we use,
But we like to be clear when we apply so that we are consistent. It's, Any other discussion from the board?
no, I think we meet these 3 criteria, and that's our consistent,
Right. And your criteria is,
that the city has the right of way, it's in the tree lawn, that it has public safety concerns, and that our city is able to do it with no undue burden. I think that.
The one question though, for the second part of that, who determines whether or not it's a safety issue? Is it the board, is it the street department?
Well, I think it was kind of a
That's the
group
thing.
effort, like, we've been out and all looked at it, and then taken his professional opinion on it, and what we're capable of doing that's
Right.
not jeopardizing the safety of a city employee by doing something that's out of our league. We're not tree cutters.
right?
Well,
Right.
also not having everyone in the city saying, it's unsafe,
Right.
come take care of it for us.
Yeah, that's the thing too, it comes down to the vote of the board. If it was 100% black and white clear, wouldn't need a vote,
Right.
So, that's why it's a discussion made in a public meeting to whether or not it's public safety or not. So, I mean, I'm comfortable with that being the place where it's decided. So,
Okay.
and then, Kristen, as to yours, the ones you have written out there, I know the third one, I think is still something that we probably would be some discussion to be had later as far as if it's not an undue burden to the city, because that does kind of put you in a weird position of if public safety is an undue burden to the city, how exactly we're going to go about that. But I don't think we don't have to figure that out tonight. But I think that's,
Something to keep in mind.
yeah.
Okay.
So, is there any more question or comment from the public? Okay. Nothing further from the board?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Would you make a motion on the affirmative or the negative?
However you want to word it.
Well, does the board want a motion in the affirmative?
Are we approving this request?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want me to put it in that? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the request for the removal of the tree on Boulevard Street?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Aye.
Mayor, for the hold harmless,
Mhm.
obviously the landowner's gonna have to sign it
Right.
for us to actually take it down.
Yes.
Were you wanting me to review or go through this at all, or?
Yeah, if you want to look at it, make sure that it's up to today's standards. I know it's probably an older hold harmless,
Right.
but I don't know how quickly law moves on that.
Because it really, it talks about during the removal process, but it doesn't talk about like cleanup specifically. Are we responsible for that? Landowner responsible for the cleanup?
Um,
Clean it up.
yeah, typically in the past, the street department cleans it up pretty well. We wouldn't be responsible for stump removal, and it might even be worth to put in there, that, and we'll,
Take it
Remove
down
it
to
to
the
a
last
safe-
bottom 10 foot.
to a safe
15
point.
foot.
yeah, like, there's no guarantee how low we'll take it, because we're just doing,
Where it's not a
Right.
hazard. Right. Okay.
yeah, but I mean, we could refine the hold harmless.
Well, if we're going to base it on, we're going to remove the tree to make it a safe point. There's no definition of what point that is. It could be
Right.
one branch, it could be the whole tree, it could be all the way down to the stump.
Right.
So That way, just keep it a little more vague to where it's more of a discretion and not get to that thing, because that could be one of those things. You can start getting all those, I want this tree gone.
I know.
Yep. So,
But I think doing it in that, it covers us completely, and it's, use his professional opinion, and we don't necessarily take them all down to the same level.
Right.
It's whatever makes it safe.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that. Good job, Steve.
all right. So we'll be in contact with you for the hold harmless, and once we get that into you in its revised version, then we'll let the street department know that they can start. Okay. All right, thank you. Next, we have the announcements for the road and alley bids. And so however we'd like to go about doing that.
Well, Dave and I discussed it over the phone today. Everyone has had a chance to look at the numbers. And Dave, do you want to announce the winners? Or would you like, it'd be good practice for you. Once you come to that.
Let us all know, and that way if we have questions, we're asking the right person.
Do you have the spreadsheet? So I need the winners.
Okay. Item 7 will go to, series, I pronounce it?
Let's see, is it item 7 or 8? 8 and 10 or
Item-
7 and 10?
It's item 7 and 10.
Right.
Yes, item 7 and 10. No, it's not right. Item 7,
You told me on the phone 8 and 10.
that will go, 8 and 10 goes to Reynolds. I'm
To
sorry.
Siri,
Yeah.
the ones, and then everything.
Skipped one.
delivered.
So I skipped one.
Am I reading
Well,
this?
it seemed,
Let me double check.
I skipped one of my
Item 7.
middle
Your
one.
own thing.
Your own stuff.
Supplier facility, that would be series.
I know.
Yes,
But you know what I seen?
that would go to
I
series.
seen everybody pulling all the way up like
Then
they're
item
supposed to.
8.
Right.
Because
From the
when I drove by
tank,
the other day, I'm like, well, everybody's pulled up there. and
500
look
gallon
at the
tank
sign.
pump out back, so that would go
I noticed the
to
same thing.
Reynolds.
So,
Item 8.
we were gonna go, talk to some,
And item
Special
9,
yeah, right.
But the thing is I went back here and looked, like the day that I drove by there, and I saw all those people that were just pulling into Burger King, and I'm like, oh, the sign's gone, and then people lined up like they should be.
Right, right.
Well, then when I left, I went back out the wrong way, because it says don't go that way. That's Burger King sign,
Yes.
that's not ours. So I turned left,
You got it.
because I'm not turning.
okay, and then
Right.
all
Right.
of this will
Um,
go to Reynolds
Do you
except
have,
for
like, when you're talking about that right
the,
lane getting clogged up,
number, item 16.
like
will
that
go
turn
to
lane goes
series.
all the way to the entrance of the plaza?
It is
Do you have-
80-90.
An eighth of a mile
Right.
of right turns. I don't think it's an issue.
Yeah,
But it seemed to be working just by removing that. It pushed everybody up.
right.
I don't know how about, if you've noticed, like, the delays of the lights.
Well, it's been Christmas vacation ever since
Make
we've done
picky,
it.
You know what I mean?
So,
But I did notice that people are actually pulling up there.
Yeah, we can let it all go.
And the only ones that I think that would have ever put that there for that reason would have been Galligan.
Okay.
Because they're like, well, that's blocking our entrance, we don't want that.
Okay.
right.
So they probably requested that to be put there. I don't think that it's necessarily ideal that was ever there.
Right.
Sorry.
Item 7 and item 9 will go to series, and item 8, item 10 will go to Reynolds, and then items 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17 will go to Reynolds. And that's all that.
The way that was decided is the series solution, that's the ones that they will go out to their pumps and use. That's the gasoline and the diesel, and they have the best price on this. Everything else that is to be delivered or brought to his facility was given to Reynolds because they have the best price, all except for one item, but they're just going to, there wasn't much of a difference on the one item, so everything delivered is coming from one place and everything that's gone to receive is coming from the other place.
Is that normally how we do it, or does it usually go to one contract?
I don't
mean,
think
is it-
one business, one has ever gotten all of the,
I was thinking, because there's so many different items, and I
No, it
wouldn't.
just kind of varies.
Yeah, and some of those,
Year to year.
yeah, and some of the things on that bid sheet, there's not one supplier that has all of them.
Oh, okay.
Because some of it's
Yeah.
gas and some of it's rock.
right? So that's the gasoline, the oil.
Yes. Okay, now, the next one would be the paving, is that right? Yes. Okay, the next one, the paving, would go to Dalton Son because of the same reason, because of the cost. They were cheaper all the way around than E&B paving was, so that'll all go to them.
And then these two here.
Okay, that
Item
is...
6 goes to Hanson. Item 5, correct? Is that what it's decided?
See attachment, see.
This is IMI. Is that the same?
Yeah, I thought that they got just about everything here. because of this
Irving
here.
did. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Irving Materials
there it is.
got all of the stone bids. They were cheaper all the way around on all the stone
Okay.
than Hanson. And I believe that,
That's it.
that covers that, doesn't it?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dave. Thank you,
You're
Tish. I skipped over the tabled do not block signs at Washington Broadway. I know, Todd, looks like they've come down.
Yeah, I took that out. I talked to Laura Slusher at LTAP. They
Mhm.
primarily do studies on stop signs and lights.
Mhm.
But after talking to her, her advice was take it out.
Gotcha.
Because with that do not block sign up there, you're encouraging evading the law by coming across when there's an empty spot.
Gotcha. It's the city, like, setting a sign up that encourages a breaking of a law technically.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
She said
So,
most cities put brakes in them.
yeah. Okay.
So she said, nobody puts up a do not block sign in front of a business on a corner. She said, that's just something that's not done usually.
Gotcha.
But she said, it's up to us, but she said, if you want to redo that intersection, most towns just put a brake in the double there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then kind of, but I'm with Mike, if we do that, we might want to take that right turn only off there so they can travel on up and then get the other driveway north of that intersection. Only problem I could see there would be drag racing, trying to beat somebody around, but I don't know how many times that happened, but you know.
All right.
I know Eric was doing a little bit of research while we were in that meeting last time, and I've done so since, and even a driver's manual for the state of Indiana, I believe it's where it is, they actually say that you can break a double yellow for a left-hand turn. So this went out on Third that you were concerned about, Mayor, that you're breaking the law, which you're not.
Right. Good.
And right out
All
here,
right.
were you guys pulling every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are good to go there.
Thank you for looking into that.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Driver's ed. Okay. Well, I don't think that we really need any further motion on that then, so I think that's resolved. Board, have any other comment or question on that? Okay. Any questions or comments from
Did
the?
you take a vote to accept your?
We could go ahead and do that.
What's that?
Did
Go
we
ahead and take that
already-
vote to
already-
accept the removal of the signs.
No, Mayor, for the bids.
We already voted
Oh,
to accept them.
That's what he asked for,
Didn't we?
accept the bids.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, you talked about it, no bid. Or, excuse me, no vote. But do you have to take
It'd be a vote, well, it'd be a vote
to
to,
accept those? Because they were accepted under
award.
advisement last time.
Right, we accept them, but we have to award it still.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we hadn't done that before, so that's, but we will do it now. So I didn't mean to move on, I thought that was wrapped up. So, moving back to a previous item with the bid winners. Do I have a motion to accept the winners as read by our street supervisor, Mr. Thorpe?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Okay. Moving back to the do not block signs at the corner of Washington and Broadway. Is that something we want to take a vote on now, too? Or do we just want to I think really we tabled it last time, I believe, so I think we need to do something with it to get it off of our agenda.
But we're not gonna put no lefts in there, right?
No, I mean, I wouldn't. I would just leave it as is, because I hate to muddy the situation.
Okay.
And it seems to be working.
Yeah, yeah.
Motion to approve and deny. Because you're approving the do not, or taking down the do not block and
Gotcha.
denying.
Well, we could make a motion to amend it to take out the no left turn
Deny the mayor's request.
piece of the proposal.
Okay, let's start this mess.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, I have a motion to amend the request to remove the request part to
Wasn't
put in a no
yours,
left turn.
Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, just check.
Well written.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, do I have a motion to accept the request to take down the do not block signs as amended?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, I think that wraps up everything. Is there anything else on the
You can
board?
tell we've been off for a minute.
Yeah. I'm sorry, this is how every board work meeting goes, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Come on, just go with it. Just go with it.
Is there anything else from the public?
Do we need to go back to the city attorney report?
Oh, we
Yes.
can. Is there anything you'd like to report, Mr. Kern?
Well, speaking of trees, it just might as well touch on the request that was here 2 meetings ago, where the lady had requested that we go on the private property and remove a tree that's that's touching a power line. However, speaking with the utilities, it's not a main line, it's a private line. The utilities do not do that. It'd be up to the landowner to have the tree trimmed, cut, remove themselves, because this one isn't in the tree lawn, and it's easily identifiably as on public or private property, and ultimately it falls on them. I know they mentioned that it was on the church hanging over to their property. However, they can remove any hanging limbs from their property.
So how does that work? If that tree falls and it tears down that line, who's responsible to replace those lines?
I meant the utilities would come in and reattach it. I don't know if they would bill the homeowner. I doubt they would bill the homeowner for that.
All right. I know in the past, when that happens, it's going to do some damage to your electrical service when it gets tore out. So typically, you got to hire an electrician to come and put your service back up and reattach it.
Okay.
And then the electrician calls and asks for a
Reconnect?
Yeah, a reconnect.
Right, sorry, I was addressing that from the other way, as if something, that the tree was to fall on the line. But, if the tree was to fall on the line or line goes out, it wouldn't disrupt any other customer besides that individual customer, and that's why the utilities will not do that.
And
Now,
wasn't that the concern, was they were worried about like their medical equipment plugged into it, that if that line came down, it would
Right.
stop their power, and it does not?
Well,
Or would stop their power.
Well, the lady next door, I think that she was the one that was concerned about it.
I mean,
It's a
depends on how it
service line
falls.
to her house.
Right.
Yeah. It's not a trunk line
Right.
from pole to pole. So, the service line from the transformer to
The home.
the homeowner, is what's in question, and the tree is on private property.
And it falls onto the homeowner, and then they have that removed. Because they said it wouldn't take out the transformer, it wouldn't cause any disservice to the main line or trunk line, or.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that all?
Yes, sorry.
No, all right, you're fine. Is there anything else to come before the board? All right, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks.